Dear students, today I am going to discuss about phytohormones. We all know that plants also show control and coordination, such as if I just say the flowering pattern, the growth of the shoot, the growth of the root, the growth of the lateral buds, then the flowering, fruiting, everything. All these things are being coordinated by means of the chemicals, and these chemicals are called the phytohormones. They do not have the nervous system, remember. So their functioning is being conducted by or regulated by means of the chemicals, and these chemicals are called phytohormones, or we also call them plant growth regulators. So what is the definition now? How do we define phytohormones? Phytohormones, you can simply say they are the plant hormones or the plant growth regulators. They are naturally occurring small organic molecules or substances which influence physiological processes. Physiological processes, we have already studied the physiology of animals as plants, like photosynthesis in plants. We have studied the respiration, and thus these are the physiological processes in plants at very low concentrations. In other words, we can say phytohormones are chemical messengers that coordinate cellular activities of plants. Now, what are the characteristics of the phytohormones? Phytohormones now, they exhibit the following characteristics. You can generally say in the slide, you can see they help in the differentiation and elongation of the cells. They also help in the formation of the leaves, flowers and stems. They help in the wilting of the seeds of the leaves and the shedding, the ripening of the fruits, seed dormancy, the opening and closing of the stomata also, which I have not mentioned it here. Generally, there are 5 types of plant hormones. They are known as auxins, gibberellins. Gibberellins are acidic in nature, so they are also known as GAS. GAS does not mean the acidic here; it means gibberellic acid. Then cytokinins, abscisic acid, and ethylene. In addition to these, there are more derivative compounds, but natural and synthetic, which also act as plant growth regulators. Now, type of plant growth regulators. So, plant growth regulators or phytohormones, they can be classified generally into 2 types. In many books you'll find, in fact, the plant growth promoters as well as plant growth inhibitors. Here I have classified them in 3 types. That is plant growth promoter, second plant growth inhibitor, and third I have just mentioned it here, fruit ripeners. So plant growth promoters, they are basically the auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins, where plant growth inhibitors is the main hormone, that is the abscisic acid, and fruit ripener is the ethylene. In some cases, if the question could be asked, name 2 plant growth inhibitors, then at that time you can even mention abscisic acid as well as ethylene. Now, auxins. What are the functions of the auxins? Where are they found? Auxins are found, remember, they are found in the root as well as the shoot tip. So they promote the growth of the root as well as the shoot tips. They cause apical dominance. I'll be showing you in the next slide the diagrams also. They show apical dominance. What is the meaning of apical dominance? If the bud which is on the top or the terminal bud, normally we say, if it is present in the plant, it just prevents or it slows down the growth of the side buds, or we also call them the lateral buds. So they slow very slowly. So you must have seen the gardeners, they keep on pruning the plant's tips. So as a result, the plant becomes a bit bushy. So it also helps in inducing the parthenocarpy. Parthenocarpy is the process in which the fruits are being produced without seeds. You must have seen many fruits, especially the banana, even the papayas are there nowadays without seeds. You can see the seedless oranges, seedless grapes, they all are produced just by the spray of auxins before the fertilization. Auxins are widely used as herbicides to kill the dicot weeds. So they are used in the field especially to just kill, you can say to destroy the unwanted plants with the broad leaves. And the example, if I have not mentioned it here, but the example is 2,4 capital D. That is synthetic auxin. It is not being made in the plant, but it is synthetically made in the industry factories. So we call it 2,4-D, synthetic auxin also. It induces rooting in stem cuttings. Suppose if you have stem cutting and you have just brought it and you are just planting again, transplanting again and again, you find that the plant is not able to grow. What can be done in the stem cuttings? If you spray the auxins, then the roots starts coming out from that. Here in this diagram, you just see that in apical dominance, as is one more process which is known as the bending of the tip towards the sunlight. We'll be studying this thing even in the plant movements. So it's the apical dominance. Here you can see this is the plant where you can see this one. This one is the apical bud, the bud on the tip. And here this portion, this one is the lateral bud. Now what happens if the tip bud is present? The lateral buds will grow very slowly. Now, if you remove this apical bud from here, can you see in the second diagram, the lateral buds are growing very fast. So, in the presence of auxin, you can say the lateral buds fails to grow, and this phenomena is known as apical dominance. So, the tip bud, the apical bud is dominant over the lateral bud. It suppresses their growth. In the second figure, you can just see here. This is again showing the auxin, how the auxins are being formed. See, this is the tip of the stem here, this diagram. So in the tip of this is the sunlight which is straight coming here. Then what happens at the tip? The auxins are being formed. This auxin will diffuse downwards in the down cells and it will help in elongation of the stem like this straight. The stem will grow straight. Now what happens? If the light comes from a side, unilateral means a side, unilateral light is coming here from a side, what will happen? The auxin which will be produced here in the presence of light, what will happen? The auxin will produce here in this side, the light, this is the lighter side and this is the dark side. The auxin will be produced over here and it will start moving towards the darker side. This side is darker. And when it goes the dark side, what happens? It promotes the growth of the cells present on the dark side. So the cells of the darker side will elongate here. You can see it, they will elongate. And then as compared to the lighter side, and this stem or the shoot will bend towards the sunlight. This is also known as phototropism also we normally say. Phototropism means the movement of the shoot towards the light. Let us see now the next one. Our next slide. Here these are the parthenocarpic fruits, the seedless fruits. Here first one, this is the banana. Here the seedless oranges. Here the seedless grapes. And this one is the seedless watermelon. Come to the gibberellins now. Gibberellins, these are again the growth promoters. What do they do? They increases the internodal length of the stem. Suppose this is the stem, I say, and these are the nodes of the stem. So it helps in increasing the length of this portion area, and as a result, what will you find? These internodal lengths will increase and the plant will grow in height. Then after that we can see it promotes bolting. Bolting means in the rosette plants, if like cabbages as well as beet, where they have the leafy part is too much here. So the stem is reduced. So if you want the stem should grow very fast, what should you do? You just apply the gibberellins over it. Spray gibberellins, you'll find the reduced stem will start growing and will start producing the inflorescence or the flowers, and finally the fruit and the seeds. Then third case here, that is, it breaks the bud and the seed dormancy. Now what happens? Sometimes during the autumn, during the extreme winters, what happens? The buds, the little buds, they stop growing. Okay, due to unfavorable conditions, and the seeds also do not germinate. Okay, due to the presence of some certain other hormones inside that, especially abscisic acid. So what happens during germination method, when you soak the seeds in the water, what happens? The gibberellins, it breaks the seed dormancy. It makes the seeds active and allows them to germinate. It induces parthenocarpy where auxins fade. When you are spraying auxins before fertilizers in the fruits, then what will happen? Then at that time, start using the gibberellins. You will find the gibberellins will be able to produce the parthenocarpy. Last one is, it helps in the mobilization of food during seed. I'm sorry, here it is being written D. It is seed germination. So it helps in the mobilization of food during the seed germination. During seed germination, the baby plant or the embryo, how does it take the food? It do not have the roots. So whatever the food is present in the cotyledons or the endosperm, it is being used by the plant with the help of this gibberellins, because the gibberellins, it breaks the food into very simple substances so the embryo can easily absorb them. This is the diagram which is showing the bolting. You can see the cabbage over here. Okay, a member of cabbage is a member of a family known as the Brassicaceae family. So what happens if you want that it should start flowering? Then you have to spray the gibberellins on it. This sudden growth of the stem in the rosette plants, rose type of plants, what we call it, bolting. This is shown by gibberellins. Now cytokinins. This is again also one of the growth promoter. How does it promote the growth? It initiates the cell division. This is the one which helps with the cell division. So you can say it promotes the growth. It counteract means it opposes apical dominance. Like in the previous slide you have seen, if the terminal bud is present, then it will prevent the growth of this bud. So, but if you want, in the presence of apical bud, this lateral bud should also grow, you spray cytokinins on it. This one, here you spray the cytokinin. What will you find here? Then this apical bud will be there, but this lateral bud will also start growing into the branch. So this phenomena is known as it is opposing the auxins. So you can say it counteracts apical dominance and helps in the growth of lateral buds. Delay senescence. Suppose if you spread auxins in the old leaves, in the leaves, and you want that leaves, or in the leaves, you want that these leaves should not get dry up. They should remain green for a long time. You spray this cytokinins on it so that it prevents the damaging of the chlorophyll and the leaves will remain green for a longer time. It is used to induce development of shoot and root also, along like auxin is promoting the growth of root and shoot. So in the same way, cytokinin cytokinin also promotes the growth of root and shoots. It depends on the ratio, not how much amount, what should be the ratio of the auxin to cytokinins. Abscisic acid. This is the plant hormone which is also known as plant growth inhibitor. This is also, although I have not mentioned this point also, it is also known as the stress hormone because it enables the plant to survive during unfavorable conditions such as drought. So what is the main function of this plant? You must have seen in nature that the plants, they keep on shedding their leaves. When they shed their leaves, so which hormone helps them to shedding the leaves? It is the abscisic acid. Due to the abscisic acid, the fruits also fall down. Due to the abscisic acid, the stomata also close. So many things. This is due to the abscisic acid, the seeds fail to germinate. Okay, so it is enabling the plants to survive under the adverse conditions of the environment. So here it has mentioned stimulates closing of the stomata, in the epidermis, inhibits plant metabolism and seed germination also. It is involved in regulating abscission. Abscission means falling down of the leaves and the falling down of the fruits. That is called the abscission, and it also helps in dormancy. It induces seed dormancy means when the seeds fail to germinate. Fruit ripener, that is the ethylene. This is the only hormone which is in gaseous form, so you can say gaseous plant hormone. So as it is basically used for ripening of the fruits, you'll find in the trees if the fruits are being ripening, so the ethylene is being produced and it allows the other fruits also to ripen. Besides this, it also helps in enhances, you can say, increases the respiration rate during the ripening of the fruit, because when the fruits are ripening, what are they are just going to degenerate, they'll just fall down and then finally degenerate also. It also induces, this one point which I have not mentioned in the class also, it induces in the mango tree. Thank you very much. This is enough for you, as I've just tried to find out to give you only those features which are basically required in class 10th. See you with the next PPT with a new topic, and that is plant growth movements.